So suddenly we are trying to leverage them with this insane idea of proportionality. And I think Israel's at the point where it's decided after October 7th, and they've lost 100,000 people, maybe 60 now have been displaced. They can't live along the border. Hezbollah has sent 8,000 rockets, the Houthis and Hamas and Iran, another 12,000. They feel they're not going to have a second Holocaust, and they're going to reply disproportionately. And they pretty much destroyed Hamas, and they don't really care whether, that people on the American campuses say this was genocidal. It's not, and they're confident that they waged war in a way that Hamas never would. And then they said, we don't care if you say they have 150,000 rockets or not. We're going to take out the entire hierarchy of Hezbollah, the most feared terrorist organization in the world. And we're going to do it systematically, and we're going to create a defensive shield where they can't hurt us. And then when we do that, if the Houthis want to send a missile into Tehran, we're going to destroy their entire port facilities, hundreds of millions of dollars. See how they like that. And now they're telling Iran, we did this once before. You sent in 320 projectiles, our allies and us stopped them, most of all of them, and then we were only allowed to hit 3. That apparently didn't create deterrence. Now you send 182 hypersonic ballistic missiles, and they did very little. That should tell you that you're impotent, and believe us, that's what they're telling the world. We're going to reply disproportionately. And so what I'm trying to get at is the world has been terrified of the radical Islamic braggadocio, that they love death and Westerners love life, and you can't defeat them. It's an ideology, and Israel is surrounded. You got to cut bait. They have the UN, they have the EU, and Israel says, we're at the point now where it's existential. If we go down this route anymore, we won't survive. Hezbollah was planning another October 7th. These people are medieval, what they did. Beheading, mass rape, dismemberment, torture, hostage taking. And they would want to do it to all of us. So now they're completely liberated, unfettered, and we'll see what happens. But they're going to try to restore deterrence by being disproportionate. And I think if they were wise, they would focus on the Iranian nuclear facilities. And I think after a week of sustained bombing, they could probably neuter them. And then I think Iran would get the message. And this administration is very fearful that they're going to target the oil installations because, as we know from the midterms and even this general election, they have been draining the strategic petroleum reserve. It's less than 50% to lower the price of gas, so Americans feel that they're no longer suffering from inflation. And I think the Biden administration is putting a lot of pressure on Israel not to retaliate disproportionately. That's the term they use. But I don't think it's going to have any effect on them. The weird thing about all this, John, is if you look at polls, 65 to 70% of the American people, even in our nadir, support Israel and its right to defend itself as it sees best. 65 to 70%. That's despite the huge influx of Middle Eastern people, the campus, foreign students, all of that, all the propaganda, all of the anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli media. And yet the American people still support Israel overwhelmingly.